Hey everyone, welcome to TechVedas.learn. Before writing even a single line of embedded code, you should know how your microcontroller memory is organized. Do you know why? Because understanding memory layout helps you to manage RAM, avoid unintended bugs, and write efficient code, especially when working with limited resources. In this video, we will explore the memory layout of embedded system using the popular STM32 microcontroller as an example. So let's start. Let me share a quick story. A friend of mine working on a wearable health tracker faced random device resets after a firmware upgrade. After days of debugging, the issue turned out to be simple. The stack was colliding with the heap due to increased local variable usage. He hadn't considered the memory layout properly. Just one overlooked detail caused him weeks of effort. This is why understanding memory architecture isn't optional. It helps you prevent crashes, use memory efficiently, and debug faster, especially on resource-constrained microcontroller which has limited amount of RAM. To begin with, let's see if you can answer this question. What happens if the stack and heap grows towards each other and collide? You can pause the video for a moment and think about it. If you cannot answer, that's absolutely fine. By end of this video, you will know the answer with proper explanation. So why memory layout is crucial? Efficient memory use improves performance, reduces bugs, and helps you avoid nasty surprises like stack overflows or memory corruption. And when you truly understand how memory is laid out, tools like linker script stop being scary. They become your power tools, helping you optimize code placement, debug crashes faster, and build stable system from day one. Here I am using STM32 family microcontroller, which has flash memory size from 64 to 128 KB and RAM size is 20 KB. You can also refer microcontroller datasheet for block diagram and memory specifications. This is the general memory structure of an embedded system. We have flash memory, which is non-volatile, means it keeps the data even during power off. Flash memory is also referred as ROM, code or program memory, or simply text memory. It is used to store code and also data which needs to be retained even after power off, like system configuration data, calibration, or variant related data. Then we have random access memory, also known as data memory, which is volatile in nature. Means data will be lost once power is turned off. RAM can be split logically by the linker into sections like data, BSS, heap, and stack. The addresses mentioned here is for the reference STM controller. Let's start with flash memory. This is where your compiled code gets stored. Due to its non-volatile nature, it doesn't forget its content when the power is turned off. It also stores the data which are marked as constant in the code. RAM or data memory is where your variables gets stored at runtime. Things like global variables, arrays, and even your function call stack. It stores 4 important sections: data, BSS, heap, and stack. And here is the interesting part. The linker decides how all this is laid out inside the RAM. Data section where global or static variables with initial values are stored. For the given example, since the value of the global variable is already initialized, it gets stored in data section. At startup, these values are copied from flash to RAM. This is why initialized variables takes up space in both flash and RAM. Next is BSS section. This one stores global and static variables which are not initialized. At startup, the system automatically clears this section and sets everything to 0. So why we use BSS? Because it saves flash memory. As 0 don't need to be stored explicitly in the binary. Let's check one small quiz. Can you tell a global variable which is initialized with 0 where will be stored? In data or BSS section? Think about it and answer. Despite being initialized to 0, value will be stored in data section, not in BSS. As it is still a defined value and must be copied from flash to RAM during startup. So be careful next time while dealing with global values initialization. Now we have heap memory, the dynamic memory area used for functions like malloc and calloc. It starts growing upward from a fixed memory address and expands as more memory is allocated. But here is a catch. Heap is rarely used in embedded system because it is unpredictable. If you are building a safety critical or real-time firmware, it's better to avoid the heap altogether. And finally, stack memory. This is where the local variables get stored. It also keeps track of function calls, return addresses, and context switching. The stack grows downwards, means it starts at the top of the RAM and moves down as you push more data. But be careful here. If your stack grows too big and hit the heap, it results in stack overflow. When stack heap collision happens, you might see corrupted data, strange crashes, or even a total system reset. And the worst part is these bugs are hard to trace. That's why embedded developers avoid using dynamic memory unless absolutely necessary, and always keeps an eye on the stack size. With this explanation, I think now you might got the answer of the question which I had asked at the beginning of this video. The correct answer is C. So that is all about the memory layout of an embedded system. Understanding this layout helps you write better code, avoid crashes, and debug faster. Now I had like to hear from you. What is the one thing you learned today that you don't know before? Drop your thoughts or questions in the comment, and if you found this video helpful, give it a like and consider subscribing to TechVedas.learn for more embedded insights. Until next time, stay curious, stay consistent. Thank you.